So here we are, and I wanted to put this video out because there is a lot of hurt, a lot of pain, a lot of anger, a lot of resentment, and I'm just going to focus primarily on the black community. So even if you're not black and if you're listening to this, then maybe this will shed some light as to why there's been a lot of gender wars. And so I'm just going to put out a couple of things that may be the reason for all of this. And I really feel like it's the catalyst that created a lot of the hate towards black females, black males, black males, black females, vice versa. And it's not everyone that feels this way about one another, but there is a select group, particularly that they utilize social media and websites to post hateful videos about each other's hair, about each other's skin color, about each other as human beings. Some don't even see as human beings. So there's been multiple videos that have been put out, and it's sad because we all have had similar experiences as black people of color. Even if we don't have a lot of education, or we have education or a lot of education, we all can come to a consensus, and we realize that we've all shared some similar experiences with dealing with racial oppression or some form of hate. And so a lot of times I think what happens is, because of all of the history of black people, there's been a lot that's been done to us to break us and to break our spirit. And I'm afraid to say this, but it has worked, and it has caused people to have a social divide based on, different issues of maybe skin color, maybe money. And here in America, America was built on, divisions based on money and greed and power, and people who are power hungry, and they're controlling, and one wants to control the other. And so they even indoctrinate other people. They, as in people who have an oppressive nature, they indoctrinate other people to become oppressors of their own culture. And so that's why you might see black females or black males who they themselves are black, but they'll post hateful videos about black people, not really posting videos outlining what may be the causes of why people have this self-hate. Like, I have posted videos to say that there's been a lot of police killings, and there's a fight here in America to preserve the black culture and to have more respect for black males and females. There's been a lot of killings of black men, and there's been a lot of anger, there's been a lot of resentment, there's been a lot of talk that has been raised, there's been a lot of protesting. And it's not only black men that have been killed, but where's the outcry for the black female? So there's been a lot of black females that have not only been killed by also officers, they've been killed in relationships. They've also been mistreated. And there has been a lot of mistreatment from black men towards black females. And I feel like the reason why it's happening, it could be a number of reasons. But I had pointed out the fact that there was this particular time in history where pimps were glorified, and that whole pimp culture was glorified. And there was a time where in rap music, and even probably still now, you may hear it and people pass it off, oh, it's just beats, it's just music. Some people can separate reality from fantasy, and others can't, so they want to live that. So they tend to want to be the Mac, the player, the pimp daddy, and what have you. So, some people joke about it, but some people really do live their life like that. and they treat women disrespectful, and they don't have much respect for women, even if it's women that look like them or that are in their culture. And then you have this woman hate, where the woman is supposed to be submissive and she's supposed to take abuse. And she may have grown up in a household where that was normal. She saw her mother be abused, and her mother maybe taught her that if you get hit, it's your fault. So you have to accept that. Maybe you did something to upset him. Stay with him for the kids, stay with him for the security. So she gets blamed for being abused when she's in an abusive relationship with an abuser. And maybe for his thing of doing it is not just, woman hate. Maybe he doesn't even think it's a hate thing. He thinks it's his right to do that. Maybe he grew up in a household where he saw males beating females, or it was looked at as that's what men do, keep women in line. So maybe abuse to him is not abuse. He probably doesn't see it as abuse because he lived and grew up, and the same goes with the females. They live and grew up in a household where there is violence, there's abuse, and that is what they've been used to. So then when they grow up and have relationships, then they do the same thing to their spouses. And the cycle continues because their kids are watching them. Their daughters and their sons are watching this, and they grow up thinking this is normal. So there's nothing wrong with sharing the truth, and this can happen outside of the black community. It happens in other cultures too, where people, a lot of countries are patriarchal. And if you don't know what I mean by that, and some do, most do, should, meaning the male leads the household. And so some people have some really, really, really strict views. Some of it is coming from religious views, and it can be borderline misogyny. Some of it is. It's just straight up, woman hate or wanting to control a female. And it can become extreme. Now, some people have views, and they may not be violent to females, but they could be oppressive to females. They could be emotionally abusive. Maybe they say things to make her feel like she's worthless. So a lot of this comes from, upbringing, uprearing, sometimes cultural beliefs. And this could not only just be in the black community, it could be in other communities. I've seen it happen with other groups of people from different racial backgrounds and cultures. And some of it comes from out of maybe religious practices. And so they teach boys to be one role and girls to be in another role. And some of the stuff is accepted, is traditionally accepted. But when it gets really abrasive is when now you have people going to jail, or either they get restraining orders, they got to figure out a way of refuge, they got to end up being in shelters, the person is afraid to go home, they got black eyes, their hair is ripped out of their scalp, things like this, or they got broken bones. And this is not just the females, but it could be maybe the woman. She just is violent. Maybe she come from a home where she's seen, both of them fighting back and forth. They both duking it out. So it's not really so much as a smear campaign when it's coming from me. It's just bottom line truth. But there was a time when pimps were glorified, when rappers saying gangster rap lyrics, it was glorified. Even if you put those horrible names that you hear about women, when people hear that over and over again, it's like they're sending those messages that is hypnotic, and then you start living that as a reality in your relationships in your life and how you deal with individuals. So when you keep carrying those same traditions or those same beliefs throughout your life, that's how you're going to treat your partner or your lover or your spouse if you stay with somebody long enough to even have that as a relationship. It winds up being abusive. And so people usually don't feel like they need to get help to validate what their issues are. Oh, they got this. Oh, I'm not crazy. So this is what's going on. And it is prevalent in the black community. It's just honesty. It's just being real. You know, a lot of people don't want to hear the truth, but you know, you need to hear what's really going on there. All relationships is not what you think they are. And it's not just, like I said, it's not just in the black community, but in the black community, let's be real. It's time to talk about these issues and be honest with one another. You can't do right for doing bad by lying about it.